So about 4.5 years ago, I decided to try my hand at making canoe paddles. This is before I got into doing YouTube, so I don't have any videos of that, but I have a couple of articles. Those are linked down below. Basically, it was sort of a cross between a cutting board and a lot of block plane work was how I did it. I'm sure professional ones are probably better in many ways. I don't really care. We took them on a few canoe trips. They worked fine. They didn't fall apart. And my kid was just tickled pink when I made him a paddle that was sized exactly for him. And I've made paddles for all my kids now. But the problem has always been storage. I used to just keep them on top of these shelves in the basement. This is where we store our camping gear down there. And most of the time, you know, that's fine, but when you want the one paddle that's at the back, or, you know, when something slips when you're trying to reach it, you know, it's just never been the ideal solution, but we've been putting up with it for all these years. So a little while ago I was working on my tool wall, and one of the things I took down was my old clamp rack. And I came into the shop today and I just wanted to do a little cleaning and rearranging. And well, I'm planning a canoe trip for the fall and just all these things bubbling in my head, and I saw this and I thought, I think I can make a better paddle rack in like, you know, 10 minutes. Because I've already got this and I just need to add some more dowels along the way, and I can hold a bunch of canoe paddles real easy. So the back is just a 2x4. These are just some 5/8 dowels. Now I'm starting with an established rack. If you're starting from nothing, these are roughly 6 inches apart, and then I'm adding a second dowel. The main key is that you just have to make sure that your paddle blades are not going to interfere with each other when it's hanging. So that determines how wide apart you want to space these. And I just position the paddle beside it, and I make a mark there, and another one. Doesn't need to be perfect, you know, a little 1/16 here or there is really not going to make any sort of a difference. A little bit of glue, a little bit of dowels, and that's really all there is to this. So just a little digression. This is what's known as an otter tail paddle. This is what's known as a beaver tail paddle, and that all has to do with the shape of the paddle is sort of wide like a beaver tail or more narrow like an otter's tail. I really like laminating strips. I think it makes it look beautiful. You don't have to. You can make a paddle with just a solid piece of wood. I like doing this. I start with a 1.5 inch wide piece that is as long as the handle. Then I laminate up a bunch of strips. This one's got ash, walnut ash, I don't even know, Paduke or red heart, yellow heart, and then more ash. It's all glued together just like when you're making a cutting board that's made out of lots of strips. And then it's feathered out as thin as you can get it down here, a little bit thicker at the shaft, and then of course the shaft is round and comfortable in your hands. The hand grip just has to fit the hand nicely. It's a lot of hand sanding, and I use the stationary belt sander to really do a lot of curving in there. Again, this is laminated ash and Paduke up here. This paddle is oak and yellow heart and cherry, and I know everybody's going to tell you that oak is a terrible wood to use for a paddle because oak just sucks up, the red oak sucks up the water. This one was still one of my early paddles. It was only the first or second one that I made, and it was an experiment that just happened to work out really well. And I've got it sealed. I've got the tip coated with epoxy. Again, they don't sit out in the water for months and months. I take them out for a weekend, I go paddling, and then they dry. This little paddle I made for my son back when he was like 8 or 9. Just a quick, did it in an evening or so. Cherry in the middle, maple on the one side, a little stripe of Paduke just to make it interesting. And I just need to mount this up here where I store my paddling gear. And so that's about it for this quick storage project, and I had to back the camera way up because it's the only way you can fit these tall skinny paddles completely in the frame. I've got the rack mounted here in the corner of the basement, and all the paddles are now easy to get at. I can pick what I want, and as a bonus, they're on display because I think they're beautiful. And that's about it. Just a quick, simple little summer camping storage project. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming and spending some time in my shop, and we'll see you next time. And let's try that again. Let's try that again. Third time. Better, 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 better. One more time. One more time.